Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Giglio, principal at Homestead High School, and here with another edition of our weekly video message. Short one this week. I don't have any guest stars, but I'm going to have some guest stars next week, so stay tuned for that one. Today is Friday, October 21st of 2022. So moving on to our shout outs and recognitions. Got a bunch from this week. Um, First of all, this is a sad one, obviously. We've talked about this a few times, but it's now becoming real. A thank you and farewell to both Brian Dong and Toby Mockler. Brian's last day is going to be the 21st. He's moving on to the district office, as is Toby. His last day is going to be the 31st. He's also moving on to the district office. We have welcomed our new team member. So we have Elder Fagundes is started on the 17th. He's our new facilities manager. He's training with Toby right now. So Toby is still here, but slowly getting Elder up to speed. And then Paula Mockler is her first day was yesterday, the 20th. So welcome to her. We're getting her trained up as well too. I mentioned this last week, but someone sent in another one with some more specifics here. But Homestead's robotics team won at the Cal Games, their only off-season competition. A shout out to the team president, Lindsay Kinn, and the advisor, Ed Taylor. And also another shout out for John Byrne for a wonderful orchestra performance at Fremont High School. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. That's why I did that. Moving on to the next one. Wanted to also give a special shout out to our PTSA for organizing the parent meet and greet that happened on the October 18th. This is something they started last year, did it again this year. Maybe another one happening next semester. We'll see if that happens or not. But that was really nice to be able to have staff members and parents all together. So we had a handful of staff members who were there talking with parents. Our equestriettes did a nice performance to get us kicked off. Our leadership kids also did a wonderful job as being our tour guides and showing parents around and giving them information about some of the different parts of campus. And again, just thank you to the parents who came and talked with us. It's always nice to see you. So hope to see more of you as time goes on. We didn't only had a couple of questions or concerns. I had some private ones, so I answered those, but here were a couple public ones. So the question was, how often are teachers required to update grades? So contractually, what we have in there is that every 6 weeks or at the end of the grading periods, so that we know what the most current grade is. So next one is going to be November 10th, so it's coming up. But in reality, people are updating all the time and grading all the time. And so we also encourage them to be as up to date as possible. But, it's never, I've answered this question in previous videos over the last couple of years. It's never an easy way to quantify what means regular, how quickly someone should grade something. It really does depend on what they're grading and how much, feedback they're trying to give and how quickly they need it back or how slowly, that kind of thing. There's a difference between grading an essay and grading a homework assignment. So sometimes some things take a little bit longer. Sometimes there's also some redemption and revisions that people are retaking tests and quizzes, so they may not get in there quite as quickly. So again, sometimes with a smaller, easier assignment, it might get in there more quickly. It may not be able to show a lot of movement in the grade because maybe some of those are worth less points or less of a weight on the overall grade. And then sometimes a big test or they're trying to write feedback or essays or projects, those could take several weeks to grade. So just a little bit of patience is appreciated. But again, they're going to try and get those out there and back to folks as quickly as possible. If you are looking at grades and you're trying to understand where your student is, Schoology should have the more up-to-date grades because that's constantly being updated. Whereas Infinite Campus, if you go to the grades part, that is the snapshot of the progress report. So it will not change until the next progress report. So just in case you're wondering why grades haven't changed on Infinite Campus, it's because they don't. They change on Schoology. Obviously, if you have questions, we would encourage you to have your student talk to teachers. And again, not because we don't want the parents to talk to the teachers, but again, we're trying to build those self-advocacy skills for your students. So having them try and chat at appropriate times is always super helpful. So again, if you can help them arrange that. But again, if you can't, you don't like the answer or you can't, the student doesn't give you an answer that you quite understand, you are welcome to email your teachers as well too, or their teachers as well too. Question about, is winter formal happening? It's on the calendar on the school website, but it hasn't been mentioned anywhere else that I've seen. Yes, it is happening. It's happening a little bit later than normal. Normally, it's the first Friday or the last Friday of the first semester. This year, it's going to be happening in second semester, Friday, January 13th. Hopefully, that's a lucky day and not an unlucky day. And so, but again, we had a hard time getting that date settled down because of everyone's coming out of COVID, everyone's getting things scheduled. So we weren't available till the 13th. So we're trying a new date. Typically, tickets do go on sale about 2 weeks before the actual event. So that's why you probably haven't heard much about it. It'll get hyped up a whole bunch more getting closer to that date. So again, it'll be second semester as opposed to first semester. Moving on to our traffic reminders. This one's all about bikers. I've had some complaints from some folks. I've also seen some things that I'm concerned about. As always, our number one concern is that a lot of students are not wearing helmets. This is not only just unsafe, but it is also illegal. They can get tickets for it. So please get your students some helmets. That's definitely an important thing. I've even seen kids having their helmets on their handlebars rather than on their head. So again, please encourage them to wear their helmets. There has been some concern shared with me about bikers riding side by side, maybe in the bike lanes, so they're sort of sticking out into the traffic or, along the bike paths, that kind of thing. It's making it hard for bikes to go the other direction if they're on a path or a two-way thing. So bikers, please be aware how much space you're taking up and where you are on the road in comparison to other people, just so that you're being safe. We have been seeing also an increase in bikers riding in front of the horseshoe during morning traffic, and this is really dangerous. We do not want people to do that. So again, if you're coming from the direction of Los Altos, you should be using the bike path on Mary Street. Don't keep going to get to the access road. Go up the bike path onto the back of campus and then find your place to park. If you are coming from the other direction, maybe more from the direction down towards what do you call that, Safeway and Hollenbeck, that kind of thing, please use the access road. Don't go in front of the horseshoe at that point. So again, making sure that you're being safe, because cars sometimes don't see folks or aren't anticipating bikes in certain areas. We don't want any accidents happening there. And as I said, please use that Mary Street path or access road. Also use appropriate crossings. I know sometimes you get a little anxious and eager and you tear across the road there because you don't see a lot of cars coming, but that's very dangerous to cross at a place where there's not a crosswalk or a light. And we ask that you do not ride in staff or student parking lots. Again, cars and bikes are not a good mixture, so please do not ride in those areas. I know it cuts off some time sometimes, but please take the safe route and go all the way around. There is a typo right there. I'll fix that one in a second. But also no riding on campus, except when you're approaching from the path of the access road. We're seeing kids at school riding bikes all over the place. That's dangerous. We don't allow people to do that. And again, it can also cause some damage on campus, so we don't want to see that happening either. So again, bikers, this one was all about you. Hopefully you guys can do some more safety things here. We have a lot of bikers coming in, so we want to make sure that people are being safe. Thank you for that. Moving on to our important dates. Not much is really added. I did add the winter formal down there at 1:13 this time, so now it is on there so you can see it. Nothing else has really changed. They still have the advisory coming up next week. We've got senior panoramic picture coming. As I mentioned, the last day of the second grading period is coming up. That is just a progress report. It's not a final grade, but that's an important one because then you only have 6 weeks to improve or hold that grade. So again, November 10th is a big date coming up. We don't have school on Veterans Day. We don't have school before right around Thanksgiving. So the special schedules will be coming out. Another advisory not coming up until December. Then some fun stuff there before the finals. Our last day of the semester, as you can see, first semester is the 22nd. We have semester break coming up. And then again, for those of you trying to plan ahead, first day of second semester is going to be January 9th and winter formal on January 13th. So anyway, I hope you had a great week and that you're gonna have an even better weekend. Next week, stay tuned for our guest stars, which will be, as you probably guessed it, some of our new administrators and our new team, and talking a little bit about some of the reorganization of our duties and whatnot. So have a great weekend, and thanks for tuning in. And please remember to send in those questions and comments. It's kind of been thinning out lately. I may have to write a new one here pretty soon just to get people interested. But again, please make sure you're sending in those shout outs or those questions or suggestions, and we'll be sure to use them. All right, thank you. Take care.